We're looking at the AAP coaches and players of the year for both the college men and women's basketball seasons at the NCAA Division I level. Starting off with the women, Sabrina Ionescu and Dawn Staley named coach and player of the year. Sabrina Ionescu, the Oregon Star, wins player of the year. And Dawn Staley takes coach of the year at the University of South Carolina. For the men, it's Anthony Grant and Obi Toppin, both from Dayton. Grant, the coach, Toppin, the player. For those of you that don't know, Tanner, break it down for us a little bit.
All right, so starting with the men's side, as you said, player of the year was Obi Toppin. The Dayton forward averaged 20 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, a little over 2 assists. He shot 63% from the field, 39 from 3, and 70% from the free throw line. So obviously the standout himself. A lot of highlight plays that we saw from him. And then for Anthony Grant, again, the coach for Dayton in his 12th year coaching in the NCAA. It was his third with Dayton. The team went 29-2. They were the Atlantic 10 regular season champions. They were the only undefeated school in the Atlantic 10, the highest ranking. They were third, which is where they finished before everything was going on here. And then this is the best record in Grant's career. So Dayton, obviously a very impressive team throughout the entire regular season. Really wish we could have gotten to see them in the tournament. I feel like they would have made a really deep run because they were pretty good the last couple of years, making some pretty solid runs. But this year, I was really excited to see how they were. I mean, they were almost a top 10 team in the country in scoring. They averaged around 80 points per game, which put them at 12th. So Dayton in general this year, very deserving. They had the best player and the best coach in the country. So props to Dayton. Very unfortunate that this was the year that everything had to happen, but props to Dayton itself. And then for women's basketball, as you said, Sabrina Ionescu, player of the year. Zach, some very impressive numbers in her final season with the Ducks. 17.5 points per game, 8.5 rebounds, and 9 assists. All those per game. She shot almost 52% from the field, 39% from the three, and 92% from the free throw line. And it doesn't just stop there. She's the first player ever on the men's or women's side in NCAA Division I basketball history to have over 2,000 career points, over 1,000 career rebounds, and over 1,000 career assists. Only player to ever do that in a 4-year career. And she is the NCAA all-time leader in career triple-double. She finishes off her career with 26. Then for coach of the year, as you said, Dawn Staley, the coach from University of South Carolina in her 20th year coaching. This is her 12th with the Gamecocks, and they went 32-1 in the season, the best record in her career. And then they also went undefeated in the SEC. So very impressive numbers for both Ionescu and Staley, and just in general, great choices this year for players and coaches of the year.
Yeah, I think we have to give props to all 4 names on this list. Sabrina Ionescu is she's almost a legend. She is a legend in college basketball, almost a legend in basketball in general. Yeah, whatever she does after college, she's going to be very good at. I'm guessing she's going to go to the WNBA. But yeah, I mean, she's good. She is good.
And I think one thing that's just impressive with Ionescu, and I didn't mention this, is that not only did she play in every single game during her time at Oregon, she also started if she played in a game, she started in it, which is very clear of that throughout her career numbers. And then again, just going back to Obi, he's just an impressive player. We saw so many insane highlights, but just kind of the leadership that he brought to this Dayton team and really put them in the right direction to have the record that they did, because they beat some pretty solid teams as well. And that's all under the coaching leadership of Anthony Grant. I mean, he's obviously had a very good career with coaching and with Dayton in general, but obviously by far the best season. And again, just raises so many questions of what would have happened. Obviously, clearly would have made the end of the tournament in terms of what seeding. Most likely, they should be a number 1 seed.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about Obi is he redshirted his first year, and so he was a redshirt sophomore this year, which you don't see a lot in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he had a year. He's going to the NBA. He's announced he's going to the NBA, and
yep.
He's going to. I'd be shocked if he falls out of the top 10. He might not go in the top 5 because of players like LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards at Georgia, and a couple other players. The center at Memphis who didn't finish the year because he was ruled ineligible. I'm blanking on his name. Vernon Carey Jr. is another one at Duke. There's a lot of good talent. A lot of good talent at the top, but I think, and I don't know if he's quite there in terms of NBA prospects, but I think he's like in the second tier. So I think he goes in the 6 to 10 range in the NBA draft. And I think he plays well. He played well this year. The thing is, he also shot 39% from three. Shot like 64% from the field. Averages 20 points a game. Super athletic. Can bounce out the gym. I don't see why he isn't. If he doesn't, he goes in the 5 to 6 to 7 range, and I think he carves himself out as a pretty decent player in the NBA.
And I think it also does depend on what team needs what, basically, in terms of position, kind of his style of play, where he'll fit best in. Like for Memphis, the Grizzlies last year when they needed a point guard after Mike Conley's departure to the Utah Jazz, Ja Morant was perfect. Personal opinion, Ja Morant's Rookie of the Year. But again, that's also a little bias towards that. But it does depend on team and what position they do need. So, and that also goes not just for Obi, that goes for Sabrina as well. For in terms of the WNBA, personal opinion, she's the number 1 overall pick, no matter what team. Whichever team gets that first pick was going to get Sabrina. But with everything, with the players and the coaches, props to them. It was a great NCAA season filled with lots of upsets, and that's what made this season great. That's why this tournament would have been fantastic to watch. But again, completely understand with this global pandemic. But props to them, props to all the players and the coaches, and we appreciate them for giving us a great season.